welcome to the Scott Outpost Investigators podcast. I'm your host, Softy Maids, and we got a full host of podcasters here today with you for talking about Shiyu Defense Season 41 and Shiyu and Deadly Assault Season 29. So, welcome Savadra.
Yo, how's it going?
And welcome Dio.
I don't think 4 is the right number.
What do you mean 4 is the right number? Did I say 4 people here? I'm still bad at what I just said. I think I said full and not 4.
What a good opening that has 4 people.
I thought I said full, not 4, but whatever's. So, let's go to Shiyu Defense Season 41 from February 6th to February 20th. What do you guys think of this Shiyu?
I am in awe and disbelief that the Shiyu feels so easy and yet so difficult at the same time. And it's kind of fascinating.
I agree with that.
Here's what I'm thinking when I talk about that, right? It's like it's not something where the buffs are complete bad and you use the teams that they're supposed to be catered for and then they're chill or whatever. I'm still getting good scores without using the agents where they're properly served for all of them. For example, I use Banyue in room 3 even though it's giving an attack buff. Even though it does also give crit damage, but it's not being used to its full potential. And in room 2, I'm using Yanagi. But that's also not being used to its full potential because it's not an anomaly buff. Room 1 is also the same way, and I'm not using an Ether Veil agent. But they all feel kind of weakish overall in terms of the buff value in room 5. But it doesn't seem to it might be me underestimating it because I feel it's harder than it may look on the surface because I'm getting 35s and 34 K on everything, but it's I don't know, it's a little interesting because it might be a matchups moment. I'm not really sure what's going on with this Shiyu. It's kind of not hard, but it's also not the most chill Shiyu I've ever seen. I don't know what's going on. Something's weird about this Shiyu, and I have a bad feeling about it.
Is it the fact that the buffs feel similar to last week's Shiyu, so that's why you don't really notice it too much?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Let me go read what the previous week's buffs were.
Because I've noticed that for room 1, basically the buffs flipped from the Ether Veil. Let me pull it up here. The Ether Veil one was crit damage and attack, and then the regular was physical resistance increase was 15%, so it just basically was them flipped. And then room 2 is definitely a different buff because it has electric compared to the what was last week's or last time's. And then
there was physical res
for
the room 1, and then room 2 was the ice and physical anomaly buff.
So that's why room 2 is definitely different, but room 3 is also just a fire damage buff, so it was pretty much similar to that one as well.
We have fire damage and basic enchant attack from last week, plus crit damage, versus here we have more fire damage, more attack, and extra initial energy and more crit damage. So I don't know, it's not so much of a stronger buff on room 3 that it should make too much of a difference, but it's feeling a little strange. I think the room 1 is definitely the difference in not having an Ether Veil agent versus having an Ether Veil agent. Last week you kind of just needed an Ether Veil agent to do anything decent in that room. This cycle it's kind of you can get away with some stuff, but I'm not seeing a I'm not seeing a thing where like I feel like the Ether Veil's doing too much.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Because like all it is here is physical damage and 10% of defense. And that doesn't seem like a lot when I read it. And then when I play it, I'm barely getting 25k with Hugo and not using an Ether Veil. And I'm like, what's going on? I think also the doppelgangers on the first floor are like part of that. I did also
Yeah.
just kind of jump into it, but like, yeah. They oh boy. The all right. The doppelgangers on floor 1. I have come around to the community sentiment that Moors and Pokra are the worst doppelgangers in the game. Like that
I mean,
it's
dodges
kind of
aren't the
just
most
there.
fun in the game. Having a dodge is not the most fun concept.
It's not that it's the dodge, like specifically. It's that they're both so like desynced and like kind of agile around each other. Like the only major dodge is Poker's like invulnerable thing, and I really don't like that overall. And not having a projectile character to use that with is like terrible and awful and bad, and I hate it. But like it's mostly just like they attack in out of sync with each other, and it feels a lot like uh it feels a lot like when they put the rampant brute and the wanted like troublemaker, the red guy, in the same room, but that fight feels so much more fun, even though it's the similar level of aggression, because they're not like bobbing and weaving at you. They're just like always coming at you. Moors and Poker don't do that. So yeah, I guess it is the dodges just overall.
Yeah, they
You're
don't
right about that.
group together well either, so that's another reason why it's a little bit harder for that first part of the fight.
Yeah, I have not with like any team that I have tried. I've tried Hugo and Ellen just for fun, but I have not been able to get a good grouping on either of them, and it's been kind of a hassle. That's the only room that's actually difficult, though, for me. The second room with the Assault Gunner and the Guardian are, like, pretty alright. They're not as aggressive, but the Guardian is still the Guardian and is more evasive overall. And then Frenzied Maniac and Wicked Wraith in room 3 are pretty good, pretty whatever. Not too bad enemies, in my opinion.
I think the only problem I had with room 2 was the Guardians little bullets threw me off a couple times, where it's like I didn't like parry or wasn't able to dodge that, so it staggered me when I was trying to attack the assault gunner.
Yeah, that happens.
So, but yeah, I would probably still go that route of probably taking out the assault gunner before the Guardian, because he's got his little tricks. He's the assault gunner.
Yeah, little laser, little rocket, little landmines that it'll just kill you. Yeah, like I did.
Okay.
What a great first impression. I kind of just jumped straight into it. That's my bad, but I don't know. I felt feelings about this Shiyu in particular. I don't know.
Yeah.
How's it been for you, Dio?
I mean, in general, I just hate the dodging mechanic on bosses or anything really.
That's fair.
Mostly because I do not have the patience to find timing. I mean, I've been struggling with recent Shiyus. I haven't had enough time to properly test and see if I'll 100% struggle on these, but more likely than not.
Have you been shooting for the 100K? Or you?
I've been trying.
Well, at least you're getting the main points.
Yeah.
I
I didn't last time, but maybe after a few hours. The Shiyu just got here. I am not all the way back in reflexes.
I'll be honest, I like barely like got attempts in to clear it like 30 minutes before we started recording for the podcast. I'm gonna be real.
Hey, I had to do
intended
mine.
to stream. I intended to stream like doing experiments with it for like, because I did some experiments with the last Shiyu when the patch dropped for Lycaon and well, actually only Lycaon buffs because I haven't unlocked Haramasa buffs, but I've been playing a fair bit of that, and I just didn't clear this Shiyu because it's been a bit of a week.
Yeah. I'm having to figure out something. So I've been a little out of it.
It's all good.
Get to me next week.
I believe in you.
Don't. Bad for your health.
At least
overall, like, go ahead.
I was about to say, at least all the enemies we've faced before, so it's not like anything new. But yeah, it's still I did like this Shiyu a lot because of the diversity that I could use for my teams compared to the last one, which felt like only a whatchamacallit. It was, I think last time I felt like it was only, no, that was DA last time. But yeah, I still felt like I was very much variety of agents I could use.
With one of my main 3 teams being Seed, I was not having a good time at all.
Really?
I mean, everything had an electric resist stage.
Oh, and the last one. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. We were talking about last one, so I thought.
Yeah, oh, that makes sense. But yeah, I also felt like that. I feel like this one is also like good for the diversity. It's just I think this is more of a matchup Shiyu a matchup focused Shiyu compared to like buff focused Shiyu. Whereas like the buffs are like decent for like a lot of the roster. I don't feel like the necessity to play everything is. I don't feel like the necessity to play into the buffs is there, but I do feel like these enemies are like very atypical of like using wacky or like less used agent teams, I guess, or like off meta, I guess it would be called. But yeah, like I feel like this is probably a Shiyu where like it's mechanical clashes with the enemies themselves compared to the buffs being bad, and that's interesting because I feel like that would probably be more of the case with the doppelgangers overall, but maybe I'm more used to playing the doppelgangers. I don't know. And even like Greta is here and the Shiyu, and Greta is like a 1.0 enemy and is pretty generalist overall. Then Avarice is, I think, also a decent generalist enemy. It's basically just Moors and Poker are like the sore spot for me, and Jester is also like kind of whatever in regards to what your matchup options are.
I'm awkward when it comes to Jester because Vivian player, as we all know. But do I really care? No, I just run Alice or Jane, and it's kind of is what it is. It's kind of her best teams.
Yeah, I'm playing the Alice, Jane into Jester as my best team. I've really enjoyed the monophysical team since I've gotten Alice. I've wanted that team for a long time.
Yeah, I've heard that team sounds fun.
I just like couldn't pull Alice on debut, but that like 2.5 guarantee banner was just really good. I like it. But yeah, I played Alice Jane into Jester, and then I played Yanagi into Greta in room 2, and then in room 3 I mentioned I played Banyue. I played the full summit Banyue, so Pan Jufufu. So I
Yeah.
didn't want to use Lucia. And also because I like got towards the end of the patch, and I don't think I mentioned this last episode. Maybe I did. Excuse me. But I got a Zhao signature near the end of the patch, like after the guarantee banner came out. And I was able to use Zhao signature on the other defense agents, and specifically Pan and Ben. And I think having the Zhao signature, just the unconditional attack and max HP for Zhao signature, because the only thing that's locked behind activating Ether Veil is the crit damage. But as a generalist like defense engine, I think it's really good. So that's why I went for it, because I got lucky enough on Alice and her signature that I had the pulse to spare for the 75, and I won. And it was cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I did not do well with my Zhao engine pull, so I had to spend, but I did get it.
Bang.
Agreed.
Yeah, defense engine. I can use Benjamin bigger in more situations, and it's not actually completely a throw, because I'm getting attack and or HP and crit damage if I have his additional, or crit rate if I get his additional. Anything else in particular for this?
I think we can
since
move.
Since the score thing hasn't changed too much, it's really only talking about the enemies and the buffs, and the buffs aren't anything special, the enemies aren't anything special. I think this is overall just it's an average feeling Shiyu. Not the best, not the worst.
Yeah. We can move on to Deadly Assault, but before we go to Deadly Assault, a word from our sponsor. Looking for the perfect bouquet of flowers to give to your waifu or husbando? Don't worry, Do Flower Shop is here to save you on this Valentine's Day. That's right, today's sponsor is brought to you by Do Flower Shop. Stop by and check out the wide range of flower bouquets, and they definitely have a flower assortment that fits your significant other's taste. With this sponsorship, Do Flower Shop has a deal for you. Show that you've liked and subscribed to our podcast, and they shall save you $200 off your next bouquet. Thank you, Do Flower Shop, for sponsoring this video. Man, I'm gonna have to edit that.
Yeah. Don't worry, I can do an ad. I can do an ad read.
Let's go to Deadly Assault. Season 29 from January 30th to February 13th.
Okay. So, got the big bad, the nightmare. It's back again.
Yeah. It is definitely not my favorite. I ran monophysical against it because I do not have the girly.
Monophysical as in Corrin or Neko?
Jane Alice.
All right, fair enough. How'd that work for you, actually? I'm curious.
I got 16k, but I also missed the skill, so I'd be able to 20k it.
Oh, hell
yeah. It would take a few runs, but that's just my own skill issue.
Well, that seems like a fun idea. I might just go do that immediately following the conclusion of this podcast. I haven't tried that yet. But yeah, now that we have a little more on how the time to breathe with the nightmare, I think it's an okay boss.
Yeah.
I'm like not too fond of it yet, maybe, but I do still like its mechanics overall. I think the difference in this buff for being the quote-unquote Yishengguang shield buff versus the last time it was on cycle, like immediately, like there's definitely a difference, and it feels all right to use non-Yishengguang on the creator. Also, spoiler alert, if you haven't played the 2.5 story.
Oh my god, they haven't played the 2.5 story. You monster.
I caught up.
But yeah.
It's almost like you get rewarded to play it. Or not anymore.
Yeah. The buff is definitely something of being the adjudication buff, the Ether Veil, giving you attack and crit damage. Not a lot of crit damage, but a fair bit of attack, both being 20%. Then a stun damage increase, and when basic attacks and ultimates hit enemies, they ignore 10% of physical res and defense. And that's like, that's a fair bit for a buff.
I think I used mine wrong because I actually used adjudication with my on Wandering Hunter with my Yadhari team because I thought it was more definitely an Ether Veil everything buff, but no, I read that now and I should have actually chose the third buff.
Formation Breaker, yeah. I think for everyone that doesn't have Zhao and is not an attacker, you don't even have to be a physical attacker, even though the physical res is there, but for every like Zhao or Suna plus attacker team, adjudication is probably better. For everything else, Formation Breaker is probably better. Mm-hmm. Unless you're using an anomaly team. Then Frost Knight is just Frost Knight, and it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely enjoying the buff here.
Yeah. Good buffs.
It definitely helped with the Nightmare. Yeah, that's the name for her.
Yeah. I ended up playing Nightmare with Formation Breaker and Crit Bernius, and Crit Bernius is still my highest scoring team. I got 32k with it. It's kind of awesome. We're so back.
There's the easiest boss known to man.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on the UCC, but that was one of my higher scores.
Yeah, we get the visit from the big corruption complex and the other bosses
26.
being UCC and the Hunter. So this like with Unknown Corruption Complex being not specifically a like generalist boss, it's been kind of interesting to try because I have tried it at this point. I've tried Banyue and Yidhari into UCC. It's kind of interesting to try Rupture into that boss. Like with how I think it's more because of how Yidhari and Banyue play. But the like I used to think for a while that UCC did not have like it's not the most aggressive enemy in the world, but it's definitely an enemy that is like has long attacks and like is big enough that it's uninterruptible for most of the attacks. And if you use like Yidhari's parry EX or Banyue's immovable mountain like dodge, like you can interrupt enemies like Hunter and like other enemies, smaller bosses pretty well. UCC you just kind of can't do that. So with not being able to interrupt it, it still attacks frequently enough that like play loop for Yidhari and Banyue don't actually feel that different. And I just thought that was an interesting observation.
About UCC, it's weird because I'm so used to the buffs corresponding to the boss But if we use that mentality, they gave UCC an anomaly buff that buffs physical. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like the most aligned thing in the world, because UCC has the electric and ether weakness, and then the buff is like ice and physical damage and anomaly damage increases, and UCC is less anomaly in my opinion, mostly because of how the damage for the legs works, not being like factoring anomaly into the damage for giving impairs, and so anomaly teams get less impairs overall, and
I will
it's
say
intriguing, like, to
it
make
is
that
the
parallel.
most favorable when it comes to anomaly. So it is kind of the anomaly boss, but like
Yeah, that's true.
that's because the other two are YSG Simulator and Play Rupture or Die.
Yeah, that is true.
You got to remember UCC. You actually can't freeze him. He's got his immunity for that. So
honestly,
I mean,
for me at least, I don't really feel it when I played Ice against him. Mostly because using an Ice team, you don't really care too much about the freeze unless you're running with like Hugo. At least when it comes to me. Just manage your timer well and your resources. Then again, the Ice anomaly we have is Miyabi, and Miyabi hits everything and actually does a fair amount of damage to UCC's legs. So
that's the team I used, was a Miyabi team on UCC, because I don't have the electric capabilities. But yeah, the ice buff was definitely what made me get the high score on this one.
I've done various testing around the board. I haven't gone for a super high score, but I think in my initial clear, I think I used the opportunity to bust out the Haramasa, just because, for old time's sake. But this was also before the patch turned and we got the Haramasa buff, so I have not unlocked the Haramasa buff. But I still got like a pretty solid like 35k with Dylan Nicole. My Haru is like extremely rusty.
Yeah, I have not touched Harmos in a while, but we can go over that when we go to our off topic. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the podcast, but
how was Hunter treating everyone?
I got like 53k with Yidhari, Jufufu, Lucia, which is my best Yidhari team.
So you just had the cheat code, okay.
Yeah, it's like, it was fine for that. For other things, I mostly spent most of my time on Hunter playing Yidhari, and immediately following the patch, this is where most of my like Lycaon buff testing came to fruition. And it's very interesting because I gotta say, like, I think for Hunter's play loop with Yidhari specifically, it's like Lycaon feels kind of strange, but still better than before. So one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if this is just me doing poor timing or not, but I've like tried to figure out the timing for this a lot. Lycaon buff is supposed to give you like the ability to copy moves from like whatever you're doing with your other agent, while like Lycaon is on field but not the active character. So like basic attacks, EX specials, dodge counters, and stuff like that. I've noticed that when I do Yidhari's like EX parry, Lycaon does not do EX special. And I don't know if that's by design, because for other agents where I do like their EX special, it like works, but maybe I missed something in the buff thing. The buff paragraph that is now longer than Lighter's buff, like edit or core passive. But it's yeah, I think the Itari thing is not as fluent as I would have expected to be.
Reading comprehension strikes again. Maybe.
Okay, I did in fact miss something. The clause states when the currently active character, while Lycaon's in Encircle Prey, uses basic attack or EX special, Lycaon will simultaneously perform the first through third hits of basic attack. So he does not actually do his own EX special while off field. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But it did feel like Lycaon was not attacking at all during the Yutari EX parry still. So I'll have to look more into that. But now that I have that knowledge in mind, the reading comprehension is good, people.
The reading comprehension devil.
I'll unlock Lycon later, but I still, it's one of them that I was happy I lost Dial into Lycon.
I only have potential 2 right now, but I also have M5, so it's the stun speed does not feel much faster than before, but the extra combat impact does help. And obviously, like, he is stunning faster by virtue of being used with not with like while he's not the active character, so he's just kind of like doing things side by side with you, and like that is helping to stun a good bit. I think 5 stuns is possible on Hunter with Hidari, and that's a crazy statement to say.
In general, I'm happy that a unit I have is getting buffed. Because having no characters past 2.2 has been starting to get rough.
Oh.
Besides Bonato. But that's just a product of Vivian. It's not like I have any infrastructure for him. The lack of dial-in hurts, to put it simply.
Dial-in is indeed a strong character.
Can we go back to Primordial Nightmare? The fact, I want to know what you guys think on like ranking it like we did for the DA bosses that we did a few weeks. So where would we put this new boss in Primordial Nightmare? I would, even though it's probably like a very much a Shungus boss, I would put it as a favorite just because of all the mechanics that are in it. But otherwise, I'd probably say a like.
You want to go first, Dio?
She has a lot of parryable abilities, but I really need parry timing to help with animations because I get very flooded in my eyes. But she's definitely not one of my favorites. I do like the chaotic nature of her, even though she is so highly relevant to YSG. I think she doesn't exactly stop any other strategies from working, which is a good point. As long as you can match something good to work around the mechanics. I will. What are the exact tiers again?
They were favorite, like, okay, and hate.
In a like or okay, somewhere in that range.
What do you, Savadra?
I like how mechanically interesting it is. I appreciate the use of the miasma. Like in a more fluid way, like that makes it unique. The swapping back and forth from the miasma state and the normal state. The like speed of the attacks feels nice. The flow, the overall flow of the fight does seem just really nice to me. I'm a fan of the bosses that are mechanically interesting like that, and like for that reason, like when I remember in the podcast episode that we did this, I had Priest as like a personal favorite for that reason, and it was like not agreed upon. But like
I absolutely adore Priest.
I think I would also put Nightmare in like the uh at least in like maybe favorite. I think the main problem for it for me is that I do not have a lot of attackers that I can use with it. I'm basically only using like Corrin and Nekomata and Crit Bernice, and like that's basically it in order to actually play it decently well. Because the Ice and Ether resistance hurts my Juyen, and I'm otherwise like not able to use Ellen or Hugo without struggling. And I also did try Yidhari on it the first cycle that it was on. That was also a time. Bonyue is decent, but it's also got half defense, so Rupture is not as good on it because it's still dealing like equal amounts of damage, but the boss has like 30% more HP, given the fact that it has no what's it called? It has less defense, so Rupture is not as effective against it.
Yeah.
And just overall, I think my account is more anomaly leaning. I need to get like more attackers in order to have a better time with it, but I still like the boss despite like my account being bad for it. And this was also my conversation point with Defiler. Like I just don't have the agents to play it super well with a lot of the roster. But I am planning to get either Orphe or Seed on their rerun. So that will hopefully lighten things up a bit. And as a reminder to the people, I did in fact skip Yisheng Guang. The current banner that this episode is being recorded on, Suna is out with Yixuan, and I did also skip Yixuan, but Yixuan's also not good for Nightmare. But overall, that is to say that I don't have an account that is super well matched for Nightmare, but I still like the boss mechanically.
I do wish she was not like ice resistant, because there's a lot of ice characters that could have worked well against this boss, which are attackers. I understand Ether being a weakness and at least having one weakness in that, but having both Ether and ice makes it a little bit harder for a lot of accounts if they do not have Shungus. But
yeah, and I do enjoy the challenge of that though, because like it's ice and ether I think are the like staple elements of the game, despite ether being quote the rarest element, and ice like having the least amount of agents at this point, even below ether, or at least on par with, but I think there is one less ice agent than there is ether agent. But the main thing is that like pretty much every account in existence that I know of is like pretty much founded on those two elements simply because of like 1.0 and also like the rarity of ether agents is kind of just makes like reruns of ether agents overall really good no matter when they come out. We did have a Vivian rerun somewhat recently. Yixuan is running right now, and Juyen reran at some point fairly early on. I think it was 1 point. Was it 1 point anything, or was it early?
Yeah, it was
season 2.
No, it was 1 point whatever for Juyen, or 1 point whatever.
Was it 1.5? It
No,
might have been 1.5. No, it was 1.5 or 1.6, one of those two.
yeah.
In any case, all that to say, like, and Rastra's already rerun twice. Lucia exists and is going to probably get a rerun sometime soon, whenever we like shift back to Rupture. But yeah, all that to say, like, it's the hardest hitting duo of resistances because I think like pretty much every account, regardless of when they started, like has a staple foundation of ice and ether. It's not to say like Nicole is completely useless on it. It's not to say like you can't do DPS Sokaku on it. It is just like the things like that do make it really hard to play with those agents.
I think
So, yeah.
I figured out an issue with my statement previously. It was not. It was in fact trying to stop me from running anomaly. I just do anomaly a lot.
Oh, that makes sense. It does have the minus anomaly damage thing, but like just like Defiler being resistant to, or not resistant, being weak to physical.
Physical. It makes Alice still do Alice things.
Alice is definitely an agent of all time. I appreciate and love the fact that Alice is still my highest scoring agent on Defiler, even though the horror buff is now out, and if I get horror to like potential 4, that'll probably change. Hopefully. Maybe. Haha.
But yeah, it definitely goes down a notch to the okay in that end. Especially since it damages rupture, and it's kind of like, oh, use attackers or don't use anything.
Yeah, I like it at least. I can argue to put it in favorite, but I think I'm settled on like.
I think we can agree on a like because yeah, I do like it as a favorite as well, but I think between most likely it's just a like. If you want to check out the full episode, I will link it at the end of this podcast, or at least as a clickable link at the end of the podcast.
Let's go.
And before we go, let's talk next week's DA bosses. Again, we'll the creator, the Primordial Nightmare, Miasma Priest, and then we'll have Dead End Butcher.
The Return of the Butch.
Return of the Butcher.
I don't know if you could say that, so.
And, well, yeah, the Butcher.
Vivian will be eating good. Vivian's gonna be eating really good after the next character comes out because of their type.
Yeah, I do almost want to pull Arya for that reason, but I will refrain. Like, I'm extremely curious about how that will go. Like, I'm so curious. If like anybody who's listening to the podcast is pulling Arya and also has Vivian, please tell me. Please tell me how Arya Vivian goes, because I'm actually so curious.
I mean, you're gonna have it firsthand, although my Vivian's a little different. If I actually pull Arya, because I should be pulling for Arya. And the mysterious, and likely the mysterious character they put with who you should make for Suna teams. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I would never guess.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either, but they're definitely going to be Arya's best teammate, so definitely stick around for that whenever the drip marketing comes around, surely.
Let's go to our off topic, being the damage potential increases of agents. What do you think of the agents that got buffed? We'll go over majority over the majority of them, because we've unlocked individually something different on each one.
Yeah, so my potential unlocks so far were I have potential 6 Ellen and potential 6 Bernius. And then I have potential 2 of Soldier 11 and Lycaon. And I am going to get potential 2 for Haramasa, but I don't have Grace at all. So I am going to end up waiting on that.
I completely forgot about those two, Grace and Ellen.
Unlucky, man.
There were so many agents that got buffed, I knew I'd forget a couple.
I mean, they did put like 5 of them in the streamlined format for 2.5, so yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I also sixed Bernice, and I was gonna do another one, but I was gonna wait for Harmasa to get his buff and do that, and also Lycon. I'm hoping to buff those guys to see how they do. But I did see Lycaon's attacks, and they look interesting. I do like the fact that he's more of an Aftershock character, and they brought that to his kit.
I appreciate that he's not specifically Aftershock, but he also doesn't like take damage for not being an Aftershock. He's just like on field and like exists in the same states that your main character does. But he doesn't do the like any Aftershock tag thing, so there's no like slowdown or like hit lag or anything like that. It plays really nicely. I really like it.
You're telling me y'all don't have 10 copies of Lucky Boo?
I do. I have one Denny Boo in my list. He's like the Bang Boo I use with my physical teams because it's better than Bang Volver.
So sad. Bang Boo with gun is mid.
But yeah, overall, like I like Lycaon's buff. I didn't think about it very hard about like why they would buff Lycaon, because I believed that Lycaon was the best standard agent in the game overall, and so I didn't feel like he needed the buff, and I would have like given that to either Kaleda or Nekomata as like in terms of keeping up with, you know, viable free to play options. But then I looked at it, and actually like a couple hours before we started recording, R2 uploaded a video about a kind of summary on the Lycaon buffs, and for basically everyone that was like doing a coverage of the Lycaon buffs overall, and also from my personal experience, I realized that they weren't buffing Lycaon for the sake of buffing Lycaon, but they were buffing Lycaon to make Restrained viable on him. And I have to say, I really appreciate that. Now that I
Restrained is real?
Yes, Restrained is real, and with the buff, it is a competitive option. It's not his best in slot option still, because Laurel and Teapot both exist, but it's markedly better than at least Steam Oven now. And
is it better than?
It's on par with Hellfire, depending on what you're playing. But I think it is more overall usable than Hellfire in specifically anomaly teams. Like I think Restrained is generally better. But
I'm gonna have to figure out how to get a copy of Restrained. Oh no.
But yeah, I have a W3 that was just kind of sitting there for the longest time, and I'm like, if I ever get Trigger, that's where it's going, I guess. But now I can actually use Restrained on Lycaon, and I like didn't think about buffing the agent in order to have a use case for the engine. But like since Restrained before the buff had no use in the game at all whatsoever because of how the game like shaped out, I actually really appreciate that they did that. Like it's actually really cool in my opinion.
I'm gonna have to
When you,
level
like,
up
think about it
Restrained
that
then.
way. Yeah, it's good. Like if you're gonna use Lycaon as an anomaly stunner, I think Restrained is definitely worth it. Like it loses out to the days value of Hellfire, I think, and at least I think it loses out to the days value of Steam Oven until W2, but I think it is definitely competitive at W1 now compared to what it was before, where it just was not competitive at all. It also beats out Precious Fossilized Core at W2 just outright. And yeah, like I said, Teapot and Laurel are both niche, but still I think overall better for like days output if you have them. Laurel being used only in crit teams, and I think Teapot just as a general thing. But I have more testing to do because I don't actually have Teapot, and I'm just relying on the word of others. So I'm gonna have to like look and see. I'm also skewed because my Lycaon's M5, as I mentioned before. But yeah,
I have two
maybe
teapots,
stunts.
so I know I'll have to try it on Lycon though.
Shouldn't expect getting all 20 stacks of it, but it's definitely an option.
Yeah. I don't think there's another character we need to talk about when it comes to the potential. I don't think. So I think it's just Lycon.
Yep, Lycon, the only buffed agent in the game in 2026. Let's go.
Also, if we're actually going to talk about the He Who Shall Not Be Named, I will say, for the Dylan team, you Seed Engine.
Really, actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
curious. Like
Because
that
of
beats
its ult buff.
Ascension. Oh, you know what? Yeah, okay. Damn, I wish I had Seed Engine. I was like
Yeah.
thinking about doing the thing I did with Heartstring for it and just like going for the YOLO 10 pull and like seeing if I could get it, but I didn't end up doing that. But it seems like a really good engine that's just kind of
wait.
increasing in time with value.
You do legitimately have both pieces to that team as your wives, in fact. You Dylan and Yuzu.
Yes, yes, I do. But yeah, I have seen some pretty crazy stuff with the Haru potential.
The only problem I remember is you need a very low crit rate pieces.
Oh, I have that covered. The crit rate on Shadow Harmony hates me and killed my dog or something.
Does crit damage love you opposingly?
Maybe that goes to attack. I don't actually know.
Yeah, it could go to attack or crit damage. It just depends.
I also have not been able to get Shadow Harmony discs. I still have Thunder Metal from before that.
I don't think I've looked at a Shadow Harmony piece in my life.
That he is definitely lying about that.
I don't think I've seen a Shadow. I don't think I've looked at one. I've seen one. I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
I've probably thrown out the best Sambi ever like 3 times over.
Fair enough. But yeah, seeing some good stuff. M0 Haru is getting like I think 50, 52, like 55k or something like that on UCC, and like M1 like slight higher investment Harus are killing now, and it's kind of crazy. I haven't seen any horror runs with Primordial Nightmare, but I would also be interested to see that if anyone listening wants to give that a gander.
Also, celebrating 11 patches without a Harumasa.
It's okay, the rerun's coming soon. Trust.
No.
Just trust.
Oh, God, please. No. 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 No.
But yeah, with those two being the newest buffs, I mentioned before I have Bernice and Soldier 11 potentials as well, and as I've developed more informed opinions about that, I feel like I'm really liking Dawn's Bloom on Soldier 11 more, and I'm really liking ER6 on Crit Bernice more. Also for Anomaly Bernice, but specifically for Crit Bernice, I feel like it's kind of necessary in order to like not run out of afterburn for like 30% of the fight because of the faster ticks now. Like it's actually so much harder to play like non-sig Crit Bernice with the potential buff and without ER6, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I do like the fact that for Bernice, they did switch it to energy regen for that and added that mastery so you can use the energy regen, because before it was hard to keep energy regen up for her attacks, but now it's easy.
Yeah, it's really nice feeling when you have ER6. If you want like the most comfortable build up, then you use ER6 and 2-piece AM. But
Ooh.
it's like slight because AM the AM stat is still more AM overall than the 2-piece AR. I think it equates to about 60% of the AM you get converted from the 2-piece ER. So if you want the most build up like out of Bernice with the buff, then you put the 2-piece AM on her. But you can also just opt to not do that and still go for a 2-piece offensive stat like AP or fire damage, and you're still going to be okay.
They did update the disc recommendations to be ER disc for at least the minor ones. I think a lot of people are still have the AP disc as their main because they haven't switched yet. But I think energy regen is getting up there as their 2-piece.
Yeah, and like it's
Yeah.
fun. They're all viable options.
Yep.
I'll say that. But yeah, Soldier 11 with the new buff, new basic 5. I really like the Dawn's Bloom thing. I've like been talking to some Soldier 11 mains about it, and they're like very surprised at how well it's actually doing once they started actually farming pieces for it. And it was like they're like the original like diehard. It has to be Inferno Metal on Soldier 11, and you have to use her in like a mono fire team, and pretty much always with lighter. But like I got them to break the mold, guys, and we were trying stuff, and it's great. Dawn's Bloom, good. It's a surprise.
The charging
Yeah.
attack was really interesting. I like that animation.
In terms of like the whole prospects of the buffs, because I do have Ellen, and I do like the Ellen buff still. Like the stat buff is not like a change in her gameplay compared to before, but I do know like some people have also enjoyed Grace, and I don't have Grace still. And also Sandby exists. But in terms of like just the overall like roster of buffs that we have, like in retrospect, I think I'm fine with the fact that they chose all the buffs that they did, and mostly like because of thinking about the Lycaon buff reason that they did in terms of making restrain more viable on it again. I'm okay with all the buffs. I do still hope that the next coming buffs are like, either Caesar, Kaleda, or Neko. Like any of those 3, I think are pretty on the list in terms of buff focus for like the next potential unlock. But we'll see what happens.
We shall see.
Mhm.
I do like Grace's animation for like throwing the grenades, but I haven't heard like how viable that actually new part of the kit is.
I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know anything about it. I just know Big Funny a Bloom.
Yeah.
Yep. Big Funny Bloom does things. I hate that they're taking my Bloom away.
Oh yeah, I did not like that they
They're-
took a bloom and scattered it all around. I did like it that it was only Vivian at first, but I did think the damage
throwing it
potential
at-
was helpful.
They're throwing it around like a Super Saiyan bargain sale. So like,
Curious how they're gonna develop that further if they're going to keep doing that, because it's
I mean,
the dynamic of a Bloom overall like has shifted from just being a Vivian exclusive thing to, okay, we have Vivian as the signature agent, like off-field anomaly agent, who uses a Blooms to deal anomaly damage and build up. And then Bernice is also there, but is more of a hybrid. Like she can be on-field or off-field now with the buff. But like is also implementing a Blooms into like getting that slight extra anomaly damage. I think over the course of a fight for Bernice, it amounts only to like, I don't know. If I'm counting burn blooms, I only end up getting like 7 in a fight, so it's probably only 1 million more anomaly damage, but it just isn't a lot. But it's like whatever.
as far as I know, I would say like Bernice is the like epitome of the anomaly concept right now.
Right. Yeah.
Because she does both on field, off field. Has an a bloom, which has become a staple mechanic. She was like the first off field anomaly we kind of got.
Hmm.
And
It's like,
Burn is one of those weird anomalies that it's actually tick damage, which is another oddity to anomaly.
like the overall, like where Bernice fits like mechanically in the anomaly structure. Like I think like the major mechanic she is lacking in, if a bloom is a major mechanic for anomaly now, she is lacking the most in a blooms, but it's still there as like a supplement, and I don't hate that. Meanwhile, then we have like Grace, who's more on field, but can also be a like burst anomaly type of deal, and I think uses her blooms more sufficiently for damage as a whole, given like how shock works and how quickly she applies shock. And then we're running into Arya, who is the signature on-field anomaly with a bloom focus damage. So
yeah, we're gonna get so many blooms. It's gonna be crazy.
So yeah, the spread is kind of there, and it's an interesting thing. I'm curious where they end up going with it in the future. It's kind of turned from a talking about buffs conversation to talking about a blooms conversation. My bad.
That's all right. I
It's
mean,
correct.
that is what happened to a bloom. They passed it around everywhere.
Yeah, I will say like literally we're all anomaly players, so that's where this is bound to go.
But yeah, I have no other major notes on the buffs as a whole. I do like them overall. I agree with the cast of buffs that they've given as they do, and I hope that the next ones are even more transformative for like the lost identities of the game, because they've been doing a pretty good job with them so far, in my opinion.
Let's go to the outro. Dio, where can we find you?
Oh God, where can't you find me in this place?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Uh, It's fine. Leave that in.
Please.
Okay, so there's Zenless fights on Twitch. Technically Zenless fights on YouTube, but ignore that for now. And in the Battle Hub in general. Anything involving Zenless PvP, I'm probably there, especially if it's in English.
Savadra, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Savadra and on YouTube at youtube.com/@Savadra. I play primarily Zenless. I've been speedrunning Celeste again a little bit lately. I've been kind of slowed down on stuff because there was a big snowstorm, and I've kind of just been a little lazy. But like I'm gonna be getting back into the swing of things again in a fair bit, and that's gonna be good and fun. I have some ideas for actually streaming Zenless, and I think I'm gonna probably enjoy it a lot more because it's what I like doing, and just playing the game with a diverse amount of teams in my roster. So I'm gonna make it a little more interactive, and if that idea interests you, maybe come on down. And when I do the thing, you might be able to bully me into playing some wacky teams, and it'll be great. I'm also the yeah.
You're a Celeste. You used to be a Celeste streamer. You should be in your element in a snowstorm.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm also the head co-owner for the Battle Hub, and I'm a little bit of a Discord junkie, moderator in some places, just general chatter in a fair few others. You'll find me around if you see my name in the list.
I myself am a DA runner and do some DAs with a twist, and you can find me sometimes streaming on YouTube. And I'm also a moderator of the Battle Hub Discord server. All right, catch you guys later. Peace out.
Y'all have a good one.